Most people think mental strength looks like being loud, confident, even dominant. But what if I told you that true emotional maturity and inner strength are often invisible? In this video, we're going to explore 10 powerful signs that show you're mentally strong and emotionally evolved, drawn from Carl Jung's deep psychological insights. And make sure to stay until the end, because sign number 10 might explain why you've always felt different in this world. 1. Boundaries aren't barriers, they're bridges. You've stopped saying yes to everything, not because you've become cold, but because you finally understand your value. You honor your peace, protect your nervous system, and respect your own time. You've learned that people will take as much of you as you allow. If you're always emotionally available, you start losing your sense of self. Now, your boundaries aren't meant to shut people out. They reveal who truly respects you when you're no longer easy to use. Carl Jung believed in individuation, the process of becoming whole by honoring your true self. That journey begins when you stop abandoning yourself for the sake of harmony. 2. You no longer take things personally. People criticize, ignore, or misinterpret you, but it no longer breaks you. You've developed emotional independence. You no longer let someone's reaction define your worth. Jung spoke often of the persona, the mask people wear, and behind that mask is their unresolved pain, their shadow self. So when someone lashes out, you see it for what it is, their inner conflict, not your failure. Your strength now lies in your ability to let it pass without reacting. You've let go of entitlement. At some point, you stopped expecting apologies that may never come. You stopped waiting for others to right their wrongs. Instead, you gave yourself closure. You offer love and kindness without strings attached. You give because it feels right, not because you're secretly hoping it'll be returned. Jung would call this freedom from the ego's grip, the point where giving becomes pure and receiving no longer carries neediness. 4. You only offer advice when it's wanted. There was a time when you tried to save people with your insight. Now you've grown quiet. You've realized unsolicited advice often backfires. Everyone walks their path in their own time. Even if it's obvious they're making mistakes, you understand they might need to learn through the struggle. Jung believed each of us must take the unconscious journey alone. Now you trust timing. You wait for the invitation, because truth only lands when someone is ready to hear it. 5. You take responsibility without guilt or shame. You no longer need to prove you're right. You don't deflect. When you mess up, you admit it. I was wrong. I didn't know. I take accountability. You've stopped seeing mistakes as personal failures. Instead, they're opportunities to grow. Jung spoke of shadow integration, bringing light to the parts of ourselves we deny. When you take responsibility for your shadow, you reclaim yourself. You own your part, but no longer carry pain that doesn't belong to you. 6. You've stopped trying to be liked. You've started being real. Let's be honest. We were all taught to earn love by being pleasing, by not rocking the boat. But one day you woke up and thought, if I have to pretend to be accepted, then I'm not really being loved. Now you're okay with being misunderstood. You're okay with disappointing people who only loved a version of you that kept them comfortable. Jung once said that true loneliness comes from being unable to share what matters to you. You've traded popularity for peace, and you know that your people will find you through your truth, not your performance. 7. You've learned what to share and what to protect. You no longer overshare to feel connected. You've become more selective, not because you're distant, but because you're wise. Not every insight needs to be spoken. Not every emotion needs validation. You've likely had that moment. You opened up too soon and regretted it later. That's your intuition speaking. Your inner world is sacred. Jung taught that not everyone is doing the deep inner work, and people who haven't explored their own depths often can't understand yours. Now you speak when it deepens connection, not when it seeks approval. Sometimes silence is your loudest boundary. You can hold paradoxes without falling apart. You no longer need life to make perfect sense. You can feel heartbreak and gratitude at the same time. You can love someone and still walk away. You can have empathy and still enforce limits. This is psychological maturity. Jung called it holding the tension of opposites. The ability to live with inner contradictions without rushing to fix them. This is how your consciousness expands. Most people want clarity. You've learned to hold complexity, and that makes you emotionally fluent in a way few people are. And you see patterns, not just people. Instead of reacting impulsively, you observe. You take a breath. You ask, what's really going on here? You've stopped focusing only on moments. You watch for recurring patterns. This is meta-awareness. You recognize when you're triggered. You notice emotional loops. You see the roles people expect you to play, and you stop playing them. Jung believed most suffering comes from living out unconscious scripts. When you become aware of these scripts, you reclaim your authorship. That's when true freedom begins. 10. You're becoming who you were before the world told you who to be. This is the most profound transformation and the hardest one to reverse. One day you looked within and realized, I don't even know this version of me anymore. The one who performs, pleases and hides. So you began peeling away the masks, the expectations, the trauma, and underneath all of it, you found someone familiar. You. Not the version shaped by fear, but the one who remembers. Jung called this the self, your true center, beyond the ego and persona. The self doesn't crave status or validation. It longs for wholeness, peace, and authenticity. And once you meet that part of yourself, everything changes. The noise of the world gets louder, but your response becomes calmer. You stop needing control because you've found something unshakable within you. That's power. That's maturity. If these signs spoke to something deep in you, not just intellectually, but in your bones, then you're not just healing. You're evolving. And yes, it can feel lonely at first, because you're shedding identities that no longer fit, and sometimes people who still want the old version of you. But you're not alone. There's a quiet, powerful movement of people waking up. Let me know in the comments which sign hit you the hardest, and why. And if you want support on this journey of awakening and returning to your true self, subscribe to Fractal Wisdom. You don't have to walk this path in silence anymore.